everyone! So I was trying to use Movie Maker today and it was not working, so I am just recording this on my phone. So we're going to be talking about the government of the United Kingdom today. So first off, what is the United Kingdom? It is not a country, as some people might think. It is technically called the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or the UK. It's made up of England, Scotland, and Wales, which are all in this main island over here, and Northern Ireland, which, as you can see, has its own flag, but is not technically an independent country. So some people will debate over whether it's a country or just a region of Ireland. The United Kingdom is not to be confused with the British Isles, which are circled, which are all of this, including all of Ireland, or Great Britain, which is England, Scotland, and Wales. So just this main island, nothing of Ireland. Hence, you have the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So as you can see, it's that little Northern Ireland part that makes the difference. I've also circled England, because a lot of people confuse the UK with England, but they're definitely separate entities. So we've got history and devolved governments. So this is why the UK is often confused with England. So in the past, England has been this big, powerful political entity, and we've used British to encompass England, even though it encompasses all of Great Britain. And then devolved governments are more recent, so that just means that the UK is, like, the government of the UK is the governing force for all of the UK, but recently everyone except England created their own governments as well. So the UK has a constitutional monarchy and a parliamentary democracy. We've got the head of state versus the head of government. So we have Queen of England, on the left, Queen Elizabeth, and Theresa May on the right, who's the Prime Minister. And she works at 10 Downing Street, which I have listed because in the 7th book, Kingsley says that he has to go back to Downing Street, and that's because he is protecting the Muggle Prime Minister. I have a sword here because the head of state does more of the ceremonial stuff, so like knighting people, whereas the Prime Minister does more day-to-day operations, so like paperwork. So the government versus parliament. So England has this overarching kind of capital G government. They have an election every 5 years. One political party is chosen to run the government. The Prime Minister is chosen of that party. They pick the cabinet, which is like 20 or so members, who are heads of departments, just like in the US, and then their ministers who work in the departments. The parliament is, as they say, for the people. So they help make the laws, and they look after government, kind of hold them accountable, make sure they're being transparent, make sure they're not doing anything bad. And so they're split into the House of Commons, which are elected, and the House of Lords, which are appointed. So here's some important history, just really briefly. We can see kind of the formation of the government, the switch from the monarch to parliament and democracy, the forming of Great Britain and of the UK. A little bit more recent, we've got the devolved governments, as I mentioned. And then most recently, you've probably heard of Brexit, so I included that as well. So then I have this quote, but then bleated the Prime Minister, "Why hasn't a former Prime Minister warned me?" At this, Fudge had actually laughed. "My dear Prime Minister, are you ever going to tell anybody?" So I just thought this was a funny quote from book 6 that helps introduce the Ministry of Magic. So here's the Ministry of Magic, kind of the equivalent of the UK government in the Harry Potter novels. We have a Minister of Magic, which is kind of equivalent to the Prime Minister. There is no monarch, though, as we hear Lupin say, that there are no princes in the Half-Blood Prince. There are departments. As far as we know, there are no ministers like the UK government or Parliament. And there is the Wizengamot, which would be like the Supreme Court. So why is this important? There's a lot of themes of corruption in the Harry Potter novels, and so there's a lot of theories about how Rowling feels about government. So it's kind of, up for you to decide how she feels. But that is a very, very, very quick overview of the UK government, and thanks for watching.